So everybody in on here, as of the filming of this video, the Final Fantasy English collector boxes have gone parabolic. 2 days ago, we were talking 800, 850, and now we're at $1,100. And even the bots and scalpers who bought them on Amazon and paid $450 some have stopped racing to zero, and they've started randomly listing them for $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $15 because everybody knows what's happening. Wizards significantly underestimated demand for the product, or they estimated it perfectly, and after years of trial and error on products, they absolutely crushed this one. But what I want to talk about, and this is going to be a little bit of exploratory finance, mathematics. Now that we have a good idea of how many serialized Chocobos have been found, we can start to impute how many boxes were made, what the data looks like. So we're going to walk through it, and feel free to nitpick in the comment section, because I know some people will. Some people will be like, oh, that's great. But we have to make certain assumptions that we just don't know what we don't know here. So whomever did this is phenomenal. It's goldenchocobotracker.versal.app. I also have the link in the Excel sheet I'm going to pull up here. So I just want to make sure that we're giving props to our source. But so far, they're showing 18 of 77 that have been found. It was 19 earlier, but there are some unconfirmed that they've removed, at least one. So, did I tell you that the collector boxes are back to $1,100? In fact, they are basically $1,200. So this is completely parabolic. So let's go on out here. So first of all, the gift bundles, because I don't think people talk about these enough. These don't release for another week. I believe ours can ship on Wednesday of next week. They have one collector booster pack in each. So these are not in the equation. If we look at, and I'm going to go in no particular order here. This is just kind of a stream of consciousness because, look, Final Fantasy's on fire. I love Final Fantasy. I grew up loving Magic. Let's talk about it. Plus, there's plenty of time to talk about Pokemon later. But, this is even more reason because now that WotC's crushing it, that Pokemon's not going to overprint stuff. Because if they go into a bear market and Magic is zooming, they may never, I shouldn't say never recover, but it's going to be a tough slog. Because this is their competition, and this is their only competition. So, 18 found, 77 total. So 23.4% of these have already been found, which is absolutely amazing. This implies a shitload of packs and boxes that have been opened. TCG player sales. Now, this is just individual boxes. I think there have been 13 master cases sold, like 166 mini sleeve cases sold. I didn't include those in the sales because they could have been bought. They could have been resold. So I'm just focusing on individual packs here. And part of this is just to show how minuscule the market share that TCG player has, because we really haven't had this level of data point in a very long time. So 2,400 collector packs, the equivalent of effectively 200 boxes. So 5,350 boxes. You can call it 5,500 boxes if you want to. Either way. So moving to the pack verbiage, and after this, we'll get into the good part. So the pack verbiage discloses less than 0.1% chance to pull a serialized card in a pack. That implies with 77 cards, there are 77,000. That is the absolute minimum number of packs that they can print to get to this number. And again, the less than means that it's going to be more than this. That's the box equivalent of $6,417. You can take this math and just throw it out the window because it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. So we're going to get to where the math gets super interesting. So I think it's pretty readily accepted by folks in the know that the collector box print run of Tarkier, for example, Aether Drift, Innistrad maybe a little bit less, is somewhere in the 225,000 unit range. I don't remember if Tarkier had gift bundles or not. I don't think so. So I think we're just talking collector boxes. But either way, it doesn't really move the needle if there's a product with one per pack. So what I know, and the reason I'm using Tarkier is I've spoken to multiple distributors, multiple folks, and from a Playbox perspective, and general units. Now, I don't have. I've spoken freely about Playboxes. I have not spoken freely about collector boxes and other items because Playboxes, they weren't allocated early on. So I got a clean number and a clean ratio, whereas the other its could get haircut at the top. Different reps may not see the full amount. So the data just gets messy, and then you end up making assumptions on assumptions, and it's not worth it when you have this level of data. So what I know is that distributors, generally speaking, received about 1.67 times the number of Final Fantasy play boxes as what they got for play boxes of Tarkier. So if they got 100,000 boxes of Tarkier, then they got 167,000 boxes of Final Fantasy. If they got 60,000 boxes of Tarkier, they got 100,000 boxes of Final Fantasy. And these came in 3 waves. The first wave was printed in the US. The second and third wave were imported from Japan. You can tell because the actual outer case is different. The US has a white sticker pushed on the box or pressed on the box. It says made in the US. And Japanese has a very, very sharp and nice printing of made in Japan. So if we assume the 225,000 total box equivalent, right, is reasonably accurate or within a standard deviation of error, and we assume that the print runs were increased across the board relatively the same, right? This gives us an estimated Final Fantasy collector booster box total population of 375,000. I think most of you who've paid attention to this have heard numbers somewhere in this general direction. So we can assume this is reasonably correct based on the limited number of facts we have. We call bullshit, we do whatever. But what this does is at 375,000 boxes and 77 Chocobos, that gives us a 0.021% chance to pull one per pack. With 18 of these pulled, it means that there is the equivalent of, look at this here. And remember, this is pull rate per box, not pull rate per pack, pull rate per box. So we can take this and divide this again by 12. And your pull rate per pack is 0.002. Not great. So with 18 pulled, we can imply or impute that nearly 88,000 boxes have been ripped. Now, this is assuming that the 18 that have been tracked captures 100% of the population, which we know it doesn't. Because English boxes go overseas, they're off social media, people get them, they're hush-hush about them. I mean, if I would have got one, the first thing I would have done was fly to PSA and sit there until they grade the damn thing. Because that's just what you do. But let's assume 18 is the total population. That means there's 88,000 boxes ripped. Now, TCG player sales again, 5,350. So for the total rip market share, so assume all of the other boxes are either sitting in pallets at distributors where they're sitting on them waiting for appreciation. They're sitting in large collections. They're sitting on shelves from people who bought them and didn't rip them. Or they're sitting in gift bundles which haven't shipped yet. The total market share of TCG players, just over 6%. And I would argue that given the total amount of items that sold through Amazon, I don't know if Walmart sold these or not. I think they did. The market share on TCG player is probably a little bit higher than what we see for other products, just because it's so easy to scalp and flip. But if we look at their sell-through based on the total number of projected boxes, 375,000, there's like 1.43% of the market is going through TCG player. That means at any point in time, because I'm assuming that this is high, it's probably, magnitudes higher than most sets, the TCG player is only capturing a little bit over a percentage of the total addressable market of any one of these sealed products. Pokemon, Magic, etc. Now, I'm guessing they're probably a little bit higher with Pokemon, just because there is less of a player base, more of a collector base than Magic. Now, that's going to change here very quickly, I think, where the collector base for Magic is going to start to skyrocket given the performance of this set and Tarkir and the future. But there is a significantly more players of Magic in LGSs than there are Pokemon. It's a fact. And that translates to more people ripping packs locally. So I thought the math was interesting, just to kind of ballpark, roughly where their market share is. And it's absolutely tiny. And, I think one of the things that, they've told me, and I thought this was fascinating, and it was really, really cool, is when they run the troves, greater than 50% of the sales for troves are first-time buyers for a TCG player, which, that's probably dated a little bit, but that is a really, really fascinating number. And the only way you're getting to a number that high is if your market share is this minuscule, where you're pulling people from all over the place that haven't bought on the platform before, which is super cool. But let's assume that only half the number are found. Oops, that didn't work. Let's assume only half have been reported. So there's actually 36 out there, right? So plug my formula in here. So now we're talking 175,000 boxes have been ripped in the first 2 weeks. If there's 375,000 total, you can take probably 25,000 out for the gift bundles. That means there's only 175,000 boxes left in storage, sitting out there. This is why we're seeing why this is going parabolic, because people are seeing the price movement. They're realizing that if I sell too soon, I'm giving away money, and it's going parabolic, and it's turning into a mania because people are going to fear missing out. And I think the super interesting about this, and I should look back on June 1st, I said in our Discord that these collector boxes will be $1,000 by July 4th. They might be $2,000 at this point, because there's nobody listing them for reasonable pricing, because there's no reason to, and everybody wants them. And it's super fascinating. So anyway, I want to do another video on this. Again, the number of boxes ripped is absolutely phenomenal. It's going to continue at a massive pace here. And I think it also shows how much of this product just sits out there and remains sealed. And, I know for certain some distributors are sitting on the product because it's what they do. And, I would do the same thing. A lot of anybody who's paid attention to the market knew that this set was going to be an absolute home run. If you didn't, you're not paying enough attention. And those who did, kudos. You're going to make a killing on it. So anyway, guys, hope you liked the video. Again, another Magic one. I know not everybody's a huge fan, but, we'll grow that base. So anyway, guys, have a great night.